Hey, second grade, how are you? Remember me from last year? I'm back. I'm ready to do some more art with you, and I'm looking forward to doing fun art projects with you every single week. Our class meets together on Wednesdays, so every Wednesday you will get a video like this from me with instructions and then directions for our for our every single art project that we do each week. Okay, so watch for that on Wednesdays, and then you have a whole week to watch the video and do your art project, and then get some help if you need it to take a picture of that and then upload that for me into Google Classroom, so that I have all your art collected in one place inside Google Classroom, and then I can look at it all and give you nice compliments on your artwork. Okay, so let's talk about this week's project. In a minute, I'm going to show you what it looks like, but for now, let's first gather up the supplies that we need. You will need some paper. It's okay this week to just use, if you have just printer paper, that will be fine. If you happen to have some drawing paper, that would be good. Let's not use the special paper yet that I sent home. We're not going to use that on this one because we're just kind of warming up, and we're going to save that for something extra special. So you need your paper. You need some tape. If you happen to have some blue painter's tape, if you're not sure what that is, ask mom or dad. If you have blue painter's tape, it can be skinny or it can be thick. It doesn't matter to me. That would be great. If you don't have that, maybe you have some masking tape. If you don't have that, maybe you have some Scotch tape, just like that. Regular clear tape like we use at school and that you wrap presents with. Okay, so you're going to need some tape. You'll probably need some scissors. So grab those. And then you're going to need your watercolor paints that you have in your art box. Make sure that you have your brush with your paints. And then also you're going to need a little cup or a little dish of water to rinse your brush, and some paper towels. Okay, did you get all that? So that was paper, tape, whatever kind of tape you have, watercolor paints and a brush, and your water to clean your brushes, and some paper towels. So go grab all that, and I'll meet you back here in just a minute.
Hey, second grade, welcome back. Thank you for gathering all your supplies. Just to review, I asked you to get, get some tape. I'm using blue painter's tape, but you could be using masking tape or even Scotch tape. So whatever you have is great. Tape, please. You might want a pencil with an eraser. I know I didn't mention that. You don't have to have it, but you might want it. Your watercolor paints, and I have an extra brush because I like to use a little bit bigger brush than what comes in my paints, and a piece of paper. I'm just using printer paper that I took it out of my printer today. You can use that if you have drawing paper or construction paper or watercolor paper. You can use that as well. So what we're going to try and get to is, this is not the final project. I'll show you this again in a minute, but this is a step along the way. As you can see, I used the tape to create a name. My son's name is Timothy, and my name is super long, so I went with a little bit of a shorter name on here. But I would like you to use the tape to write your name tall, big letters. You can even use up the whole sheet of paper. At least give me as tall as your hand. So if your hand is this tall, I want them to be at least that tall. If your name is really long and it won't fit on the paper, you can shorten it, or you can even do somebody else's name. All these things are okay. If it's easier for you, you can write the name first. So for example, with my son, whose name is Timothy, I just wrote T-I, and this time I'll do a lowercase m. So that way I can show you how to do something with curves like that. And all you're going to do is just tear off a piece of tape that you think is about the size of your line. If it's too short, there's no reason why you can't just put another piece right up next to it like that and cover that. Okay. And if you have a little gap like that, it's okay, but if it bothers you, you can cover it with another piece of tape. So again, if I have too short of a piece, all I do is just tear another piece off and put it right on top of it. And I need a little bitty one for the dot of my eye. And then when I get to the M, if it helps you, you can even hold the tape up near your letter so you can kind of measure and guess about how tall you need your tape. And all these little rough edges, crooked edges, that's fine because this is the kind of artwork where things can be a little crooked, so we're not going to worry about it. Now watch what I'm going to do here. This is straight. This right here is straight, and so is this. But they're curving at the top. So I'm going to do all my straight parts first because that's just easier for me. And this is why maybe it's a good idea for you to write your letters with pencil first. So here's all my straight parts. Now I got to figure out how to get this tape to curve. And it's kind of a hard thing to do. So instead of making a curve piece, I'll go like this. I'll maybe put a piece up like that and another one down like that. Okay, so it makes the top of my M, it's a little pointy, but that's okay because we're using tape. It's really hard to get things to be curvy when you're using tape. And if you were to just look at that, you can tell that that says Tim, even if it has weird pointy tops on the M. So that's what your first step is you're going to put tape across all of your letters. And then I want you to kind of press it down. Now, I always forget something. I did forget to tell you this ahead of time, but I'm going to tell you now. So, because I'm thinking maybe you're not doing this along with me. If you are and you already stuck your tape down, don't even worry about it. Don't worry. But what I was going to say to you is painter's tape will peel off pretty easily. If you're using just masking tape, which is kind of like that whitish yellow stuff, it sometimes is a little stickier than this tape, and if you peel it off, it might tear your paper. So here's a little trick. When you tear off a piece, you could do something like, I can't really do this on camera because my camera won't reach down to my leg, but if you're wearing shorts or pants or a skirt, you can take this tape and stick it to the fabric, or even your shirt. You could stick it to the fabric of your shirt. See if I can get my arm in here. Here we go. You can stick it on like this, right? And then peel it off. And you can do that a couple times. Sounds kind of funny to do that, but here's why. Every time you stick it down and peel it back up, it takes away some of the stickiness here. So that way it won't tear your paper. Okay? So you can do that with the blue tape if you want. You probably really need to do it with the masking tape. And if you're somebody that's using Scotch tape, like that clear stuff that we use for wrapping presents, you will not even have to do the step later where we peel the tape off. You guys get to leave your tape on. Okay? I'll tell you why in a minute. Alright, so once you get that part done, you're going to get your paints out. And just as a review of how the proper way to paint, you want to have, I have a big bucket of water. Here's my water right here. And I like to keep a towel like this with, it's dirty, it's got all my paint marks on it. Sorry. I like to keep a towel handy or a paper towel. When you're getting ready to paint, you want to dip your brush into the water, and I like to put a little bit of water with my brush onto each paint before I'm ready. What that does is it kind of gets the paint ready to go. Each time in between when I'm touching a different color paint, say for example I go into yellow, then I'm going to rinse it. Then I'm going to go into orange and then rinse it. So I rinse the brush every single time before I dip into a new color. Why do you think that is? I do that because I don't want to make each color dirty with the other color. See how clean and nice my yellow is right now? If I dipped into yellow right after green without rinsing, what would happen to the yellow? It would get super messy. And you want your yellow to be nice and clean. So you want to make sure each time you dip into a new color of paint, you're rinsing your brush first. Okay? So now let's go back to our drawing here. You can do stripes like I did. Or you can do blotches of color. Maybe you want to have, I'm painting right over the top of that tape. Pretty cool, huh? Maybe you want to have spots. I rinsed my brush out. Now I'm going into the green. So there's no more purple on there, right? Because I rinsed it. Now, rinse it off. Pick a new color. How about red? And look at how much time I spend kind of mixing up the paint there. That gives me a nice lot of really nice, good, juicy paint on my brush. Now, some people are going to say, uh-oh, look at my red and my green touched, and now those colors are mixing together and it looks ugly. It's a weird color. Sometimes that can happen. So if you're worried about that, you can do this and leave a little space. See that little bit of white space that I left in between those two colors? You can leave a little bit of white space in between colors if you want to, or you can wait a little bit of time so that certain colors dry before you add new ones. Remember, I rinsed my brush again. Now I'm going into a new color. Okay, so just think about that. If it bothers you, if they're going to blend and mix and you don't like what might happen, let it dry a little bit or leave some space. Now I rinsed my brush out and I want to get one last color on here. I'm going to choose blue because I haven't used it yet. I'm going to put my beautiful blue over here. Remember, you're going over all of this tape. Paint right over the top of it, okay? And then we need to set that aside and let it dry. So let me move that over here, and I want to talk to you a little bit more about the paints before we go on. So let me move things out of the way. Pick this up. Be careful if you pick it up because it's going to be drippy. Okay, so before we go on, I want you to learn how to clean up your paints at the end. Because a lot of times when we're in art class at school, sometimes people don't clean up their paints properly. I'm even going to zoom in a little bit so you can see better. Let's zoom in. Ooh, that's pretty close. That's too close. Woo! Sometimes it's a little too close, isn't it? Okay, there. Now let's get it in focus. There we go. Okay. I take a paper towel and I'm going to roll it up so that I just have a little pointy part. Or you can use a Kleenex even. Or if you're at home and you have a Q-tip and it's okay with mom or dad, you can do that. But you just take that paper towel and I'm not even touching the ovals of the paint. I'm just touching the area around it, and it's kind of fun. It's like a vacuum. This paper towel sucks up all the paint that's messy around my colors. And when this gets a little dirty like that, you can just move it to a new area, find a new clean spot, and then touch this part. And it's just like when you get out of the bath or the shower, how the towel gets all the water and dries you off. We're doing the same thing here. Just touch it down on there and it's going to suck up all that paint. And remember, I'm not touching here because I don't want to wipe away all the paint that I have on my palette. I want to keep all my paint. I just want to clean it up around the edges. Here's a little bit more. I can clean up around the orange if I was being really picky, but I don't need to be that picky. Okay, so there we go with that. And now the next step is going to be real quick. I have to put this aside and show you because I got to go do a Zoom with another class. Okay, you're going to carefully, when this is really dry, like maybe the next day, you're going to carefully peel the tape off very slowly like this. And what will happen is you're going to reveal that white paper underneath. And I don't have time to do all of this because, like I said, I lost track of time and I got a Zoom meeting in just a minute. But you're going to reveal all of that so that it's not going to say Tim in blue tape anymore. It's going to say Tim with white letters. And if your paper rips a little, just like mine did, don't worry about it because this is just about trying. It's not about being perfect, okay? Art is not about being perfect. Okay, so I hope you had fun with that. Good job. Thumbs up. I'll see you next time.